Hello. Imagine life without lights, electricity. You just can't go to a switch and flip it on and it lights up the way. Again, imagine life without lights. Lights are an amazing thing.
Are you ready? 3, 2,
let's go.
1, let's go.
But welcome, Bushcraft family here with another video. Now, I've talked about EMPs until I'm blue in the face and whatnot. It may be something that in our lifetimes we never have to deal with. But guess what? You may have to deal with it tomorrow. Are you prepared for that? Are you prepared to not be able to flip a switch on, go to the refrigerator and get a nice cold beverage out, go to the faucet and turn the knob and nice clean water comes out for you to drink? Take that all away. Nice, cool air conditioning for these hot, muggy summer days. What about wintertime? No heat. No way to cook your food indoors. Anyways, it's something that we have to kind of imagine. A lot of people, when we talk about this stuff, it's just, you know, you sit there and listen to it and it sounds interesting and everything, but when the video is over, you go watch the weather or another video about chickens or something like that, and you don't think about it anymore. But what if you had no choice but to think about it? And just imagine some of the things that you would have to do without. Well, came up with a little something here. And I went and did a lot of research on different things about where we live in the United States. What areas would be better to live, you know, with after an EMP or, you know, a solar corona just wipes out everything electronical in the world. Going back to days before, you know, we had electricity and all that fancy stuff. We're so spoiled right now. We change the channel with a little doohickey. We even turn our fans on and our air conditioning with voice activated. Alexa, do this for me. Things like that. We're so spoiled. What states do you think would be ideal to live without power, you know? And believe it or not, there are better states and worse states. And some of the things that you would want to look for in a situation like this would be, the first thing, and it's me, so you know I'm going to talk about water, access to fresh water. You don't have, you know, chemicals and treatment plants to clean your water, so you need fresh water. Water that hasn't been contaminated by everything that man has done. So in your state, do you have clean water? Do you have good access to clean water? A lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I got a well and this and that." Do you know how much pressure it takes to pull up a gallon of water 200 feet deep? I guarantee you, trying to siphon it out with your mouth to get that water up there is not going to work. Fresh water is very important. Is your state, full of fresh water that isn't contaminated by man, pretty much? Do you have water that's coming out of the ground in certain areas, something to think about. Access to easy protein sources. Do you have a lot of, animals readily in your area? Squirrels, rabbits, wild birds, deer, some places elk, moose, bear, those things. And I'm not talking about, the domesticated ones like chickens and cows and stuff, because that's nice if you already have that stuff in line. But can you keep that meat source reproducing? And what happens if you have a bad season, a bad winter or something? You lose all of that. How do you get it back? Do you go out and go hunting? Do you know how to go hunting? Things like that. Traps, Now this one is the ticker here. And this is the one that I really did a lot of research on this thing, because population. One of the main things is, if you have a massive amount of population, say you Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, you live in those areas, there's more people than there is food and water in that location. It's just what it is. And I'm sorry to say that. You can prep all you want and stuff, but eventually that's going to run out and you have to reproduce that stuff. Those would not be prime areas. Imagine living in New York City. How many people lives in New York City? Another one is being able to have sustainable agriculture. Being able to produce produce to last you throughout the year when meat is scarce during the wintertime and stuff, and being able to can like meat and stuff for long term. That's important in your state. Now you have to realize in your state, when the power goes out and everybody like you is out there doing the same things that you have to do to provide for your family, is there going to be enough of that in your area? Here we go. I've done this in is fairness as I could. And here's the first one, the first state, Texas. You might think, yeah, there's a lot of people. And I'm not talking about, Dallas and Houston area or anything like that. eventually those people will start starving and start heading out. And it's up to them, to find, if they make it out, locations to try to survive. Yeah, Texas is a big area. A lot of areas where you can just vanish away from populated areas, and that's the main purpose of it. And there's plenty of game to choose from. You have deer, even though Texas deers are a little small compared to our deer up here in Ohio. You got tons of feral hogs. You got turkeys. You got all kinds of animals down there. There's also, many types of farm animals. Chances are there may be a lot of them roaming free and stuff like that. You never know. There's ways to get these animals, trapping, all kinds of stuff. There's plenty of areas to fish, whatnot. But there are some areas that, probably not the ideal areas, like Western Texas. It's probably not the best area, but if you could find a good location, you would hardly ever see anybody, because they know that there's nothing out here but desert. We can't survive out here. But Indians did it for how many generations? And this is our next one here. This is one that I pretty much, it's a shoe-in, and it's Montana. Big open areas, plenty of water. The only issue with Montana is the weather being extremely cold. Texas, you got extremely hot. So, which is which? And again, you have, Montana has massive amounts of protein to get. Just, you have to not have the knowledge how to get it. Mountain streams, you got plenty of access to water all over the place. If you know where to look and how to find water. That's the main thing. If you don't have knowledge in what to look for in terrain by scoping it out, climb up on top of a hill or a mountain and look around, where do you think water would be in that location? That's something you have to learn. The soil would be excellent for growing things up in Montana. You have streams to fish trout all day long. It's a good area. Our next one, some may say, ooh, what are you talking about? But Michigan. And I'm not talking about the lower part. Detroit and everything, they would eat themselves up down there. I'm afraid it doesn't look good for anybody in Michigan or anything down below there. You get to the upper area, yes, you have to deal with that snow stuff and rugged winters, and growing season is not the best, but it is a good area for farming. Plenty of animals, plenty of streams. Lots of clean water. If you know, again, where need to know where to look for that stuff. Fishing, you have deer, duck, black bear, you name it, all over the place. Again, one of the best places, and I know there's going to be a lot of people who disagree with that. That's okay. And remember, we're looking at places with dense population, access to clean water, and abundance of protein, meaning animals and whatnot, and places to grow things. Our next one is Minnesota. I mean, land of the 10,000 lakes. If you can't find water there, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Plenty of animals all over the place. Fish all over the place. Again, it's some of the most rugged terrain and everything around there. But again, you get to the dense areas up north, and you'll see less and less people because it takes a lot to survive the winters and whatnot. Our next one is Maine. Believe it or not, it's, there is not that much population there. It's the population is very densely, which is ideal. Yet it's way up north. It's pretty close to Canada. It's right on the border. Plenty of animals. Farming is, you'd have to rely on a lot on potatoes and things like that. But gardening would be a must there, which would be everywhere. But the soil and everything would be good for farming and whatnot. And you also have coastal area, depending on what location you get to. And this one will make somebody happy. This one will make somebody happy. And I was surprised on the density part on this state. I really thought that the state was quite crowded. And it was close. It was close to a couple others, but North Carolina, there, believe it or not, there is a strong presence of, or a network of preppers that live in the hills of North Carolina. We were kind of talking about how dangerous it is to venture out into the hills in North Carolina because it's well guarded, basically. And there's plenty of streams, plenty of, deer, rabbit, squirrel, all that good stuff. In gardening, it's one of the best. It's challenging to get your soil right and everything, but once you do, it produces good. Long growing seasons, and probably one of the easiest climates out of all that I had suggested there. Other than the next one. Yep. And again, this one is pretty much in the same location. Not on the western side, but on the eastern side of Tennessee. Just like there, up in the hills, again, they have their own set of laws that you don't mess around with the people in the mountains. Again, you have the same things that North Carolina does, and yeah. And our last one here, or not our last one, but last one in this area is Arkansas. Believe it or not, Arkansas is getting up there with and there are some of the best wild game and rivers in there. Good for spear fishing, fly fishing, clear areas to where you can see the fish and everything. great areas to bug into, to survive, and great for gardening again. And probably one of the best locations for weather, other than you have one thing that you have to worry about. It is tornadoes. Same thing with Texas. Depending on the area you're in, tornadoes is something that you have to worry about. And you're not going to have, who's that guy on YouTube that yells at everybody for tornadoes are coming? I forget. Anyway, Ryan Hall. Yeah. Is that Ryan Hall? I don't know. Anyways, you're not going to have that. So you have to pay attention to Mother Nature and tell when, we got something happening. Let's find a cave or something to hide in, you know. But yeah, and our next one here is Alaska. Believe it or not, yes. And you have to be on your game living in Alaska. I mean, remember, this is areas that are densely populated. There's people live in the middle of nowhere in Alaska that they probably haven't seen anybody in 10, 20 years. They may see a plane fly over or something, but they never see anybody. They live out in the wilderness and they hardly ever see anybody. And that's the way they like it. Now, farming is very short unless you make a greenhouse. The winters are horrible if you're not used to it. Brutal cold weather, lots of snow, things like that. And that's our last one. And I did want to give a mention to some other states, not to leave them out, and they didn't make the list, but they're what are they honorable mentions. So you feel better if you live in some of these states. So I'm going to give you 3, okay? Parts of Ohio. Unfortunately, it's not the part I live in, but I know where those parts are, and that's a good thing. Our next one would be, believe it or not, Eastern Oregon. There's areas that are very densely populated, full of animals, and farming is good if you can get away from the massive amounts of rain and stuff. Our next one, and I was really surprised at this, but it does make sense. If a guy from Microsoft is not around that area, and that's northern Utah. Yes, northern Utah. Certain areas, northern Utah, if you look at the map, you'll know what I mean. Those are perfect places that more survivable than, say, Rhode Island or Delaware, New Jersey. Tell me, what do you think of this list? And this is all going by data about densely populated areas, clean water, lots of food source, meaning animals, and being able to grow something. And I'll leave you at that. Bushcraft family, like always, God bless.